The photos were spread across my kitchen table like evidence at a crime scene, which, in a way, they were. My wife Vanessa smiled back at me from a dozen different angles, her arms wrapped around Derek Mason's muscled frame at the Grandview Spa. The same weekend she'd told me she was visiting her sick aunt in Boston. I'm Ethan Cole, and I install smart home systems for a living. I'm good with details, good with technology, and apparently terrible at reading the woman I married 5 years ago. But that was about to change. Jesus, Ethan. Lyle Simmons, the private investigator I'd hired, stubbed out his cigarette on my back porch. She didn't even try to hide it. Look at this one. He tapped a photo of Vanessa and Derek sharing champagne by the spa's infinity pool. She posted this on her Instagram story before deleting it an hour later. I studied the image. Vanessa looked radiant, her blonde hair catching the afternoon sun. Derek, her personal trainer from Elite Fitness, had his hand resting possessively on her lower back. They looked like a couple celebrating an anniversary. How long? I asked, though I wasn't sure I wanted the answer. Best guess? 6 months, maybe more. My source at the gym says they've been real cozy during her private sessions. Lyle lit another cigarette. You want the rest of it? I nodded, bracing myself. She's been telling people you two are having problems, that you're controlling, jealous, can't satisfy her needs. He paused. Sorry, man. But you said you wanted everything. The front door slammed and Vanessa's voice echoed through the house. Ethan? I'm back. God, what a exhausting weekend. Aunt Margaret is such a handful. I quickly gathered the photos and slid them into a manila envelope. Lyle crushed his cigarette and headed for the side gate. Call me when you decide what you want to do, he whispered. Vanessa appeared in the kitchen doorway, looking perfectly put together despite her supposedly grueling weekend of caregiving. Her yoga pants and designer tank top showed off the body she worked so hard to maintain. The body Derek had been enjoying while I sat home like an idiot. Hey, babe. She kissed my cheek and I caught a whiff of expensive cologne that definitely wasn't mine. Miss me? Like a hole in the head, I said, managing a smile. She laughed, thinking I was joking. I need a shower. That hospital smell just clings to everything. Another lie. Delivered with the casual ease of someone who'd had plenty of practice. As she headed upstairs, I opened my laptop and checked our shared cloud account. Vanessa had always been careless with technology, never bothering to change passwords or check her sync settings. Her phone had been automatically backing up everything to our joint account for years. What I found made my stomach turn. Hundreds of text messages between her and Derek, going back 8 months. Photos she'd sent him that were definitely not meant for a husband's eyes. Plans for secret meetups, complaints about me, discussions of their future together. One message from last week stood out. E is getting suspicious, asking too many questions about my schedule. We need to be more careful. Derek's response. Maybe it's time to tell him. I'm tired of sneaking around. You deserve better than that loser. Her reply. Soon. I just need to figure out the finances first. He makes good money with that tech business. I sat back in my chair, the full picture becoming clear. This wasn't just an affair. This was a calculated plan to take me for everything I was worth. My phone buzzed with a text from my buddy, Jake Morrison. Hey man, drinks tonight at Murphy's? Sarah's bringing her sister Megan. Thought you and Vanessa might want to double date. I stared at the message, thinking about how I'd have to pretend everything was fine. How Vanessa would probably make excuses about being tired from her weekend of caregiving. How my friends had no idea that my marriage was a complete sham. The shower was still running upstairs when I made my decision. I wasn't going to be the pathetic husband who got blindsided by his cheating wife. I was going to be the one holding all the cards. I opened a new document on my computer and started typing. If Vanessa wanted to play games, I'd show her what a real player looked like. Murphy's Tavern was packed for a Tuesday night. The usual crowd of locals nursing beers and pretending their lives were more interesting than they actually were. I sat in our regular booth with Jake and his wife Sarah, watching Vanessa work the room like the social media influencer she fancied herself to be. She's glowing, Sarah observed, sipping her wine. What's her secret? If only you knew, I thought. Clean living, I said instead. All those early morning workouts. Vanessa was at the bar, chatting with Moira O'Brien, the 70-year-old owner who knew everyone's business in our small Connecticut town. Perfect. Moira was better than Google when it came to local intelligence. So how was Boston? Jake asked. Vanessa mentioned your aunt was in the hospital. Oh, you know how it is. Family drama. I took a long pull from my beer. Actually, I'm thinking of surprising her with a weekend getaway. Maybe that new spa resort up in Vermont. She's been so stressed lately. Sarah's eyes lit up. The Grandview Spa? Oh my God, that place is incredible. My yoga instructor just got back from there. Said it was like heaven on earth. I feigned surprise. Grandview? Never heard of it. It's super exclusive. Like celebrity clientele exclusive. Rachel said she saw that guy from the Patriots there with his trainer. Sarah pulled out her phone. I think she posted some pictures. As Sarah scrolled through Instagram, I watched Vanessa laugh at something Moira said. My wife had always been charming when she wanted something. The question was, what did she want from the town gossip? Found it! Sarah showed me her phone. Look at this infinity pool. And these are the private cabanas where they do couples massages. I studied the photos, recognizing several locations from Lyle's surveillance pictures. Looks expensive. Totally worth it, though. Rachel said they have this amazing personal training program. Really intensive. Sarah giggled. Her trainer was apparently quite the specimen. My grip tightened on my beer bottle. I bet. Jake laughed. Easy there, Tiger. Not everyone can be as ripped as you. He patted my decidedly average shoulder. Besides, Vanessa's got great taste. She picked you, didn't she? If he only knew how wrong he was. Vanessa returned to the table, sliding in next to me with a bright smile. What are we talking about? Ethan's planning a surprise trip for you, Sarah said excitedly. Somewhere romantic and relaxing. I watched Vanessa's face carefully. For just a split second, I caught something that looked like panic before her influencer smile snapped back into place. That's so sweet, babe, but you know how crazy my schedule is right now. I've got 3 brand partnerships launching next month, and Derek's been pushing me really hard with this new fitness program. Derek? Jake raised an eyebrow. Since when are you on a first-name basis with your trainer? Another micro-expression of alarm. We all are at the gym. It's very personal attention. She squeezed my hand. Maybe we could do something local instead. There's that new wine bar downtown. Actually, I said, pulling out my phone, I already made some calls. Turns out the Grandview Spa has a last-minute cancellation for this weekend. Same place Sarah was just raving about. The color drained from Vanessa's face. This weekend? But I have plans with Derek? The words slipped out before I could stop them. The table went quiet. Jake and Sarah exchanged glances while Vanessa stared at me like I'd grown a second head. Plans with Derek? She repeated slowly. What kind of plans would I have with my trainer? I could feel everyone watching us, waiting for my response. This wasn't how I'd planned to play it, but maybe direct confrontation would shake something loose. I don't know, Van. You tell me. You seem to spend a lot of time talking about him lately. She forced a laugh. He's my trainer, Ethan. We talk about fitness goals, nutrition, that kind of thing. Don't be weird. Weird? I leaned back, studying her face. Is it weird that I want to spend time with my wife? Is it weird that I notice when she's always busy with work but never seems to be working? Is it weird that... Okay, guys, Jake interrupted, clearly uncomfortable. Maybe we should change the subject. But I was just getting started. No, I think this is important. My wife thinks I'm being weird for wanting to know what she does with her time, for wanting to surprise her with a romantic getaway, for caring about our marriage. Vanessa's eyes were blazing now, her carefully maintained composure cracking. You want to know what's weird, Ethan? This paranoid, controlling behavior, questioning my every move, checking up on me like I'm some kind of criminal. Controlling? I laughed, and it didn't sound pleasant, even to my own ears. That's rich, coming from someone who can't even tell her husband the truth about where she spends her weekends. The accusation hung in the air like smoke from Moira's cigarettes. Sarah was staring at her wine glass, while Jake looked like he wanted to be anywhere else in the world. Vanessa stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. I don't have to listen to this. When you're ready to have a rational conversation, instead of throwing around crazy accusations, let me know. She grabbed her purse and headed for the door, leaving me sitting with my stunned friends and a table full of awkward silence. Dude, Jake said finally, what the hell was that about? I drained my beer and signaled Moira for another. That, my friend, was me finally asking the right questions. I didn't go home that night. Instead, I sat in my truck outside Derek Mason's luxury apartment complex, watching the windows of his penthouse unit. Lyle had given me the address along with Derek's schedule. Up at 5 a.m. for his own workout, first client at 7, lunch break from 12 to 2, last session ending at 8 p.m. It was 11:30 p.m. when Vanessa's BMW pulled into the visitor parking. I watched her hurry across the lot, her overnight bag slung over her shoulder. She had a key to the building. My phone buzzed with a text from her. "Staying at Sarah's tonight. Need some space to think." I typed back, "Take all the time you need." The next morning, I was waiting in the parking lot of Elite Fitness when Derek arrived for work. He drove a pristine white BMW convertible, the kind of car that screamed, "Look at me." His vanity plate read, FITGOD. I followed him inside, signing up for a day pass at the front desk. The gym was exactly what I'd expected, all chrome and mirrors, filled with people who spent more on their workout clothes than I made in a week. Derek was easy to spot. 6'2", perfectly sculpted, with the kind of tan that came from expensive treatments rather than actual sun exposure. He was training a middle-aged woman who hung on his every word like he was dispensing the secrets of eternal life. "Ethan Cole," I said, approaching him during a break between sets. "I think we need to talk." He looked me up and down with barely concealed amusement. In my work clothes and steel-toed boots, I definitely didn't fit the Elite Fitness aesthetic. "Do I know you?" he asked, though something in his eyes suggested he knew exactly who I was. "I'm Vanessa's husband." The woman he'd been training suddenly found something very interesting to look at across the room. Derek's perfect smile never wavered, but I caught the slight tightening around his eyes. "Vanessa Cole, right. Great client. Very dedicated to her fitness goals." He was good. I had to give him that. "Is there something I can help you with?" "Yeah, actually. I'm curious about her training schedule. See, she's been coming home pretty late from her sessions, and I'm wondering if maybe she's overtraining. Don't want her to burn out, you know?" Derek's smile became more strained. "I always recommend rest and recovery. Very important for muscle development." "I bet. And those weekend intensive programs she's been doing, the ones where she stays overnight for nutritional counseling, those must be really intensive." Now he wasn't even pretending to smile. "Look, Mr. Cole, I think there might be some confusion about—" "Oh, there's no confusion." I pulled out my phone and showed him one of Lyle's photos. Derek and Vanessa in a passionate embrace by the spa pool. "I'm very clear on what kind of personal training you've been providing my wife." Derek's face went through several interesting color changes. Around us, the gym had gone noticeably quieter, other patrons pretending not to listen while obviously hanging on every word. "We should probably discuss this somewhere more private," he said through gritted teeth. "Why? Afraid your other clients might find out what kind of extra services you offer? Or maybe you're worried about Elite Fitness finding out their star trainer is screwing married clients." That got his attention. Derek grabbed my arm, his grip tight enough to leave marks. "You need to shut your mouth right now." "Or what? You'll beat me up in front of all these witnesses?" I looked around at the crowd that had gathered. "That would be great for your reputation. Former college football star beats up middle-aged tech guy. I'm sure that would go viral in all the right ways." He released my arm, realizing he was trapped. In a place like Elite Fitness, image was everything. Any hint of scandal could destroy his carefully cultivated brand. "What do you want?" he asked quietly. "I want you to stay away from my wife. I want you to end whatever this is, cleanly and quietly, and I want you to find a new gym to work at." Derek laughed, some of his confidence returning. "You think you can just show up here and make demands? Vanessa's a grown woman. She makes her own choices." "You're right. She does make her own choices. Like the choice to lie to her husband about where she spends her weekends. Or the choice to plan a future with her trainer while she's still married to someone else." I leaned closer, lowering my voice so only he could hear. "But here's the thing about choices, Derek. They have consequences. And I'm very good at making sure people face the consequences of their actions. Is that a threat? It's a promise. See, I know all about your little side business selling performance enhancers to high school athletes. I know about the tax issues with your cash-only private sessions. And I know about the sexual harassment complaint that got buried at your last gym." I smiled at his shocked expression. Like I said, I'm good with details. Derek's face had gone pale under his artificial tan. "You can't prove any of that." "Maybe not in court, but I don't need a court do I? All I need is social media. A few anonymous tips to the right people, some screenshots of your text messages with my wife, maybe a call to the IRS about those unreported cash payments. I shrugged. Amazing how fast a reputation can crumble in the digital age. We stared at each other for a long moment, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Finally, Derek looked away. What exactly are you proposing? Simple. You end things with Vanessa, today. You tell her it was a mistake, that you're not ready for a relationship, whatever. Then you find a new job somewhere far away from here. Do that, and your secret stays secret. Derek's jaw worked like he was chewing glass. And if I don't? Then you'll find out just how creative I can get when someone messes with my family. I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Derek, if you're thinking about warning Vanessa about this conversation, don't. She's got her own problems to worry about. I walked out of Elite Fitness feeling better than I had in months. Phase 1 was complete. Now it was time for Phase 2. Vanessa came home that evening like nothing had happened. She breezed through the front door with her gym bag and that same bright smile she'd been wearing like armor for months. Hey, babe. Sorry about last night. I was just overwhelmed, you know? Sarah helped me get some perspective. She kissed my cheek, and I smelled Derek's cologne again. I thought maybe we could order Thai food and watch a movie, like old times. I looked up from my laptop, where I'd been reviewing the financial documents I'd spent the day gathering. Sounds great. How was your workout today? A brief hesitation. Good. Really good. Derek's pushing me to the next level with this new program. That's funny. I stopped by Elite Fitness today to check it out. Thought maybe I'd join, start working out with you, but Derek wasn't there. Vanessa's smile flickered. He had a family emergency. Had to leave early. Another lie. Delivered with the same casual ease as all the others. Derek had been there all right. He'd been there when I'd systematically destroyed his comfortable little world. That's too bad. I was looking forward to meeting him. I closed my laptop and gave her my full attention. So tell me about this new program. What kind of exercises are you doing? For the next hour, I watched my wife spin an elaborate web of fictional fitness routines, complete with detailed descriptions of equipment she'd never used and techniques she'd clearly made up on the spot. She was good at lying. I had to give her that. Years of practice had made her almost believable. Almost. My phone buzzed with a text from Lyle. Package delivered as requested. Check your email. I excused myself to use the bathroom and opened my email on my phone. Lyle had sent me a video file labeled Spa Security Footage. I had paid a lot of money to get this, but it would be worth every penny. The video showed Vanessa and Derek in the spa's VIP lounge, their hands all over each other like teenagers. The timestamp showed it was from last weekend, during her supposed visit to her sick aunt. When I returned to the living room, Vanessa was curled up on the couch, scrolling through her phone. She looked so innocent, so perfectly domestic. It was almost enough to make me feel guilty about what I was planning. Almost. Van, we need to talk. She looked up and I saw the wariness in her eyes. About what? I sat down across from her, pulling out my phone. About this. I played the video, watching her face as she saw herself on screen with Derek. The color drained from her cheeks, but she didn't say anything. Just sat there, frozen, as the evidence of her betrayal played out in high definition. When the video ended, the silence stretched between us like a chasm. Well? I said finally. Aren't you going to tell me this isn't what it looks like? Vanessa's composure cracked, and for the first time in months, I saw the real woman underneath the carefully constructed facade. Ethan, You what? You can explain? You can make this better? I leaned forward. Try me. She started to cry, but even her tears felt calculated. It just happened. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Derek and we just connected, and... For 8 months? I interrupted. You just connected for 8 months? All those lies about working late, about visiting your aunt, about girls' nights with Sarah? That was all just a connection? Her tears dried up quickly, replaced by something harder. You want to know the truth? Fine. Yes, I've been seeing Derek. Yes, I lied about it. But can you blame me? Look at us, Ethan. Look at what we've become. What we've become? You mean married? I mean boring, predictable, dead. She stood up, pacing now. When's the last time you surprised me? When's the last time you made me feel alive, desired, important? I don't know. When's the last time you gave me the chance? Derek makes me feel like a woman again. He sees me, really sees me. Not just as the wife who does your laundry and makes your dinner. I almost laughed. Derek sees your bank account, Vanessa. He sees a meal ticket. You think you're special to him? You think he actually cares about you? More than you do. Really? Then why did he end things with you today? The words hit her like a physical blow. She stopped pacing, staring at me with a mixture of confusion and growing horror. What are you talking about? Check your phone. I bet you've got a message from him. Something about how he needs space, how this has gotten too complicated, how he thinks you should work things out with your husband. Vanessa grabbed her phone, her fingers shaking as she scrolled through her messages. I watched her face crumble as she found what I knew would be there. Derek's breakup text, sent about an hour ago. How did you... She looked up at me, and I saw something new in her eyes. Fear. I told you, Van. I'm good with details. I'm good at solving problems. And you've become a very big problem. She sank back onto the couch, her phone falling from nerveless fingers. What did you do? I had a conversation with Derek. Man to man. I explained the situation to him, helped him understand that his best interests lay elsewhere. You threatened him. I educated him. There's a difference. I stood up, looking down at my wife as she sat there in ruins. The question now is, what are we going to do about us? Vanessa looked up at me, and for a moment I saw the woman I'd fallen in love with 5 years ago. Vulnerable, uncertain, human. Then her expression hardened. I want a divorce. No, I said calmly, you don't. Excuse me? You don't want a divorce, Vanessa. Because a divorce means splitting everything 50-50, and you've gotten very comfortable with our lifestyle. A divorce means no more designer clothes, no more expensive gym memberships, no more luxury spa weekends. A divorce means getting a real job and supporting yourself. I pulled out a folder from my laptop bag and set it on the coffee table between us. But more importantly, a divorce means all of this becomes public record. Your affair, Derek's business practices, those private photos you sent him that I'm sure you wouldn't want your Instagram followers to see. She opened the folder with trembling hands, her eyes widening as she saw the extent of evidence I'd gathered. Photos, text messages, financial records, witness statements. You've been busy, she whispered. I'm a thorough person. It's what makes me good at my job. I sat back down, watching her process the magnitude of her situation. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to be the perfect wife for the next few months. You're going to smile and laugh and play the part of a woman who's working on her marriage. You're going to attend couples therapy with me, and you're going to convince everyone that we're stronger than ever. And then, when the time is right, when I've had a chance to protect my assets and my reputation, we'll have an amicable divorce. You'll get what I decide you deserve, and not a penny more. Vanessa stared at me like she was seeing me for the first time. I don't even know who you are anymore. I smiled, and it felt good to finally drop the mask I'd been wearing for so long. I'm the man you tried to destroy, Van. But it turns out, I'm a lot harder to break than you thought. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she laughed. It was a bitter, broken sound. You think you've won, don't you? You think you've got it all figured out. Don't I? You have no idea what you've started, Ethan. No idea at all. There was something in her voice that made me pause, a note of certainty that didn't match her defeated posture. What's that supposed to mean? Vanessa stood up, smoothing down her hair and straightening her shoulders. The vulnerable woman from moments before was gone, replaced by someone I didn't recognize at all. It means you're not the only one who's good with details, husband. And you're not the only one who's been planning for the future. She walked toward the stairs, then turned back to face me. Thai food sounds perfect. I'll order from that place on Main Street, the one with the cameras in their parking lot, the ones that will show me being a devoted wife, trying to save her marriage. As she disappeared upstairs, I felt the first cold finger of doubt creep down my spine. What had I missed? What was she planning? But it was too late to second-guess myself now. The game was in motion, and there was no going back. 3 weeks later, I thought I had everything under control. Vanessa was playing her part perfectly, attending therapy sessions where she tearfully admitted to her emotional affair and begged for my forgiveness. Our friends saw a couple working through their problems, stronger for having faced adversity together. I should have known it was too easy. The trap was sprung on a Friday evening at Murphy's Tavern, during what was supposed to be a celebration of our renewed commitment to each other. Jake and Sarah were there, along with half the town, watching as Vanessa stood up and tapped her wine glass for attention. I wanted to thank everyone for their support during this difficult time, she began, her voice carrying across the suddenly quiet bar. As many of you know, Ethan and I have been working through some challenges in our marriage. I felt the first stirring of unease. This wasn't part of the script we'd agreed on. It's been a journey of discovery, Vanessa continued, learning things about each other that we never knew. For instance, I never knew my husband was capable of blackmail. The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. I started to stand, but Jake's hand on my shoulder kept me in my seat. I never knew he would threaten an innocent man's livelihood just to get his way. I never knew he would hire private investigators to stalk me, or break into someone's apartment to plant listening devices. Vanessa, I said quietly, what are you doing? She smiled at me, and it was the coldest thing I'd ever seen. I'm telling the truth, darling. Something we haven't done much of lately. She pulled out her phone and connected it to the bar's sound system. Moira started to object, but Vanessa waved her off. I think everyone should hear this, she said, and pressed play. My own voice filled the bar, crystal clear and damning. I know all about your little side business selling performance enhancers to high school athletes. I know about the tax issues with your cash-only private sessions. The recording continued, playing out my entire confrontation with Derek for everyone to hear. My threats, my blackmail, my promises of destruction if he didn't comply with my demands. When it ended, the silence was deafening. Every eye in the bar was on me, and I saw the disgust and disappointment in the faces of people I'd known for years. You recorded me, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. Derek recorded you, Vanessa corrected. He was wearing a wire, provided by his lawyer. You see, when you threatened him, he didn't just roll over like you expected. He fought back. I looked around the room, seeing my life crumble in real time. You don't understand. She was cheating. I was leaving you, Vanessa said firmly. I'd already filed for divorce. I'd already moved out, emotionally, if not physically, but you couldn't accept that, could you? You had to control the narrative, control me, control everyone. Jake was staring at me like I was a stranger. Jesus, Ethan, what the hell is wrong with you? He's a sociopath, Vanessa said matter-of-factly. I've been documenting his behavior for months. The surveillance, the financial manipulation, the threats. My lawyer has everything. She pulled out a thick folder and set it on the bar. Police reports from Derek and 3 other people Ethan threatened. Restraining orders. Evidence of harassment, stalking, and extortion. I felt the walls closing in around me. This is insane. I'm not the bad guy here. She's the one who what? Who fell out of love with her husband? Who found someone who made her happy? Vanessa's voice rose, and I could hear genuine emotion underneath the calculated performance. Who tried to leave a marriage that was suffocating her. You were stealing from me, planning to take everything. I was planning to take what I was legally entitled to in a divorce. But you couldn't even let me have that, could you? You had to destroy everyone around me, isolate me, force me to stay. The crowd was murmuring now, and I could hear the word abusive being whispered. I wanted to scream that it wasn't true, that I was the victim here, but I could see it was too late. The narrative had already been written, and I wasn't the hero. The police are outside, Vanessa said quietly. They're waiting to arrest you on charges of stalking, harassment, and extortion. Derek's pressing charges, and so am I. I looked toward the door and saw the flashing lights through the window. My legs felt weak, and I had to grab the back of my chair to keep from falling. You planned this, I said, the full scope of her trap finally becoming clear. All of it. The therapy, the reconciliation, playing the perfect wife. You were setting me up. I was protecting myself, she replied. From a man who thought he owned me, who thought he could manipulate and control everyone around him to get what he wanted. The bar door opened, and 2 uniformed officers walked in. The crowd parted like the Red Sea as they approached our table. Ethan Cole, the first officer said, you're under arrest for stalking, criminal harassment, and extortion. As they read me my rights and cuffed my hands behind my back, I looked back at Vanessa one last time. She was watching me with something that might have been pity. I loved you once, she said softly, her words barely audible over the noise of the crowd. but you turned that love into something ugly. You made me into your enemy. You were always my enemy, I replied, and meant it. I just didn't know it yet. The officers led me outside, past the gawking crowd and the flashing cameras of people recording everything for social media. My business was ruined, my reputation destroyed, my freedom about to be taken away. But as they put me in the back of the police car, I found myself smiling, because even in defeat, even facing prison time and social exile, I had to admire the precision of Vanessa's revenge. She'd played the game better than I had, and she'd won completely. The last thing I saw as the police car pulled away was Vanessa standing in the doorway of Murphy's Tavern, surrounded by friends offering comfort and support. She'd gotten everything she wanted: freedom, vindication, and the satisfaction of watching her tormentor face the consequences of his actions. She'd beaten me at my own game, and she'd done it perfectly.